Hey Norwegian Cruise fans, and welcome to my channel Cruise with Grant, where we talk about all things Norwegian Cruise Lines. As you may have seen, NCL is making some big changes to their pre-boarding COVID-19 testing protocols, and I'm going to share everything that you need to know if you're thinking about taking an upcoming cruise with NCL. So without further ado, let's go. Before we get started, it goes without saying, things are changing. So please make sure that you're always looking at the most up-to-date NCL sail-safe protocols and the requirements for the countries that you'll be visiting on your cruise. I'll link that in the description below. Now let's get to the big news. NCL recently announced that for all sailings after August 1st, 2022, there will no longer be a mandatory requirement to show a negative COVID-19 test. Now, before you get excited, this is going to apply to most ports of departure. However, it doesn't apply to sailings that are leaving from the United States, from Canada, or from the Piraeus region in Greece. So we know that as Athens. Now it's important to note that this change to testing requirements doesn't change NCL's requirements to show proof of vaccination before boarding. So please check out the previous video that I made that covers all of the things that you need to know about NCL pre-boarding protocols. I'll put a link in the description below. So what are the requirements for anybody who's leaving from a port that's in the US, Canada, or Athens? So it's very similar to the existing testing requirements that are already in place before August 1st, 2022. If you're 12 years of age or older, you need to provide a proof of a negative PCR test that could be taken up to 3 days before your departure, or a rapid antigen test that has been proctored, so by a third party, that was taken at least 2 days prior to the cruise. Something that I noticed recently was that in addition to the antigen and PCR tests, NCL has also added to the list of acceptable things a certificate of recovery. So if you've recovered from COVID in the last 90 days, and again, more information on that can be found on the NCL SailSafe website, you can also provide that as proof in order to board your cruise. Now, if you're traveling with kids under the age of 12, you're probably interested in finding out a little bit more about what the testing requirements are for them. The most important thing that you need to know is that each of the areas that I've just mentioned, the US, Canada, and Athens, have slightly different requirements. For the United States, any kids under the age of 2 aren't required to have any tests, and that includes both kids who are vaccinated and unvaccinated. For children who are 2 to 11, they're still required to meet the same testing requirements as adults, so either an antigen test 2 days in advance or a PCR test 3 days in advance of departure. If kids 2 to 11 are not vaccinated, they're required to have a PCR test taken 3 days in advance, and they'll also have to undergo testing administered by the cruise line and paid for by the cruise line at the port area before they're allowed to board the ship. For cruises leaving from Canada, kids up to the age of 5 don't have any testing requirements, again, regardless of their vaccination status. But kids who are 5 to 11 need to meet the same testing requirements as adults. So again, that antigen test or the PCR test, as I've already spoken about. And similarly, if kids are not vaccinated, they need to take additional testing at the port area paid for by NCL. Athens has the most different requirements for testing in that any kids under the age of 12 are not required to have any testing regardless of their vaccination status. So if you're leaving from Athens, just know they have no testing requirements if kids are under the age of 12. If you're looking for more information about pre-boarding protocols or the onboard experience, please make sure that you're checking out the other videos that I made about SailSafe and COVID-19 protocols on NCL cruises. I hope you found this video helpful. Please remember to give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out. Thanks very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.